How many give me 15 minutes? Give me 20 minutes. Just hang with me, Johnny. His last name is not "Would you come?" I used to do that all the time. I'd say, "Johnny, would you come?" at the end. And for years, people I thought that was his last name, you know? I want to do something, just a short teaching, because I feel like today was very purposeful in reading something that I read to this house a year and a half ago. I believe that today it was important that it be read into this room, into our hearts, to realize that God has called us for such a time as this. That there's a reason. It's not for buildings, it's for people. It's building people. I never find in Scripture how to grow a church, but I do find in Scripture how to grow people inside. The Word grows us as we allow Him into our dreams, into our ambitions, into our lives. But there's something I want to read today that God gave me a few years ago that I had actually found in a file. And right before we began this journey in coming to this new place and crossing Jordan, or crossing 565, according to what direction you're coming from, I found this that I'd written, just trying to express my heart to the Lord one day. And I felt like today was a day of this Thanksgiving, of coming to the kind of, now we initiate what we've been doing all along. We just continue with what God's called us to do as a church, as a people. But it was called People of the Dream. I still remember the feelings of those first moments when the Lord spoke to my heart concerning Huntsville. The overwhelming sensation of seeing people of a dream and hearing Him say, "These are the people waiting for you in Huntsville." I was scared and excited at the same time. Excited that God would entrust a vision to Lisa and I, yet scared that we would be responsible for it. When I came home, I shared with her what I had seen. Jesus used her immediately by saying, "We just got here in Jacksonville, we're not going anywhere." Even though I knew she was right, I was still thankful that God was communicating His heart for us. This scared excitement really seemed to define the journey Lisa and I were about to embark on. Around every corner, it was as if Jesus had laid out visual breadcrumbs for us to take the next step. Every step required the embrace of that scared excitement of faith. From the time of coming to fast and pray in 1998, when she and I were on Montesano Mountain asking God to let lightning strike if you have called us here, and then seeing it happen on that mountain, to the time of our first Vision Cast meeting with a handful of people showing up in a living room of new friends, that scared excitement remained the same. I remember lying on the floor in my office in Jacksonville praying over a stolen phone book from a Huntsville hotel, naming faceless people I had only seen in my dreams. The nights of what seemed to be endless conversations with Lisa, reading to me from her dream journals about places we had never been, people we had never met. The naming of a ministry from a parking lot conversation to a confirmation of a single mother in a dream. The Rock Family Worship Center came to life, and the scared excitement of faith rooted deeper. I remember the vision was so deep, yet having no money to meet the need. Then overnight, 2 days before we headed out, God provided all we would need and said, "Everything you will ever need will be in the house when you need it." I remember the loading of trucks, the sound of little voices, and that thing in the pit of my stomach while driving to nothing but expecting something. That first service, the support of family and friends, the faces of people we had seen in our dreams, and that scared excitement of faith. I remember a cramped hotel, then a temporary place, Motorola building on Bradford Drive, to catch our breath, still always praying to stay the course, to hear his voice so we could touch the people of the dream. Then the smell of a bar, Joe's House of Entertainment. That, to be honest, still smells like home to me. People came and found hope. Marriages restored, hearts mended, and the people of the dream loved and served. And that scared excitement of faith grew stronger still. I remember having nowhere to go, a Gideon 300, a heart to grow. Then Jesus brought us to a home, what's known as Miracle City, truly a place where the people of the dream would find a miracle for their life. A place where champions would give of their time, their talent, and their treasure to become a miracle to someone else. Where their passion for the presence of Jesus would produce the purpose of his heart for others who would come. A packed place, parking hard to find, demanding a strategy that would take us to other communities searching for the people of the dream. I remember the call to Scottsboro, through those who were driving so far, that began a journey over 13 years ago that would allow us to expand in other communities, Madison, Fayetteville, online, Smith Lake, and the Shoals. And all the while, the scared excitement was churning with knowledge that only God can do this. I can still see the people of the dream. So many are here, but many are coming. We see people who have made his dream their dream, his life their life. Men and women, old and young, who are willing to champion the cause of Christ and be armed with the power of the cross of Jesus, a towel and a basin to wash the feet of a city, a region, and a world. Champions who are willing to take the heart of Jesus and express it through the life of serving. Champions that are represented in this room and in all of our campuses today. Champions willing to answer, WWID, what will I do? What will I do to run forward in these last days and find the people of the dream of God? We have embarked now on a new season that has that same scared excitement running through our spirit again. It is that longing for the people of the dream to find a home in him, that the power of the cross would be known to all who have been put in our dreams. Expanding not for the purpose of promoting ourselves, but proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ to a lost and a dying world. Butler. A noun, it's the head servant of a household who is usually in charge of food service, the care of silverware, and the deportment of other servants. That truly, through that, we would be bowl-carrying, towel-bearing servants of Jesus to our post in this city and to the region. When I look to the future, I see it with that thing in my stomach still. Realizing that unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain. But also knowing that he has called us to co-labor with him in his building. To be a community within the community, to change the community. To build together with the people of the dream is a dream come true. On this day of Thanksgiving, for where God has brought us from and for where he is taking us, we are honored to live this dream with champions like you. It's God's dream that I'm talking about. What he would send his son for. I know today we have college students that are back in town. Our students have gone back to school, our high school, junior high, educators in this room. Young ones just getting started. I look in a mirror, I realize I'm not the young one anymore. I'm not the young 34-year-old pastor coming to a city. Kind of a gray-head man. If you'd have told me I'd have been known as the gray-head preacher a few years ago, I'd have probably started dyeing my hair and you'd have never noticed it. And it was too late and I couldn't. But I want to say to all of our students, to our young couples, keep the dream God has given you alive. Don't allow anything, don't allow anyone to steal the dream he's placed in you. Don't let the crowd Don't let some atheist, agnostic professor, don't let a hunk or don't let a fox keep you from the dream God has placed in you. Let His grace empower you with a pure heart, with a clear conscience, and a strong faith. Keep a dream alive, whoever you are. If it's for a business, if it's for an endeavor, it will always require risk. It will always require you to step out of your comfort zone. It will always require you to trust Him, because God's dream is always bigger than your dream. Researchers tell us if you can hold on to a dream for 5 years, you will start seeing it happen. Leave a footprint in the sand of time where you've been. Let someone know that you've been here. God has given you that ability through Him. Guard it through Him. Serve God where you are. Find a place to serve. If you're a guest here today, can I encourage you, no matter where you are, get planted in a house where you can serve God, and you will flourish in the courts where He places you. God's dream. You know it's when God's dream, it's bigger than you, when you can't let it go. You'd be willing to die for it. Prepare for the dream. What you build on determines the length of success that you will ever have. How you establish character in secret, how you trust Him in secret, will affect how you live in public. It will constantly keep you on your knees. It says, God, I don't want to shame you. I want to honor you. Be single-minded toward the dream of God. There's a Chinese saying that says this: if you're hunting rabbits in tiger country, look out for tigers. And if you're hunting tigers in rabbit country, don't worry about the rabbits. Keep the main thing, the main thing. Understand authority. Understand that sowing into someone else's dream allows you to birth your own. That you would treat someone else's business the way you would want yours treated. That you would serve with everything that's in you the way you want to see God release things in you. Never give up. Paul would say in Galatians, you were running a good race. Who cut in on you and kept you from obeying the truth? That kind of persuasion does not come from one who calls you. Keep running. Don't quit. The enemy's trying to kill you, trying to stop your run. He wants to discourage you from the journey of your dream. He's trying to steal your dream. But you can't win if you don't run. Can I say that one more time? You can't win if you don't run. I had no idea years ago that God's personal agenda for Lisa and I would become a public statement of this house. There were 3 things that He required of us that still now, almost 20 years later now, I can't get away from. And that is this: to love the Father Jesus lived for. That is passion. Everything Jesus did was of love for His Father. Everything He did was to represent His Father. It was the belonging. Aren't you glad He didn't wait for your belief system to truly line up with who you belong to? He just said, believe that I am, and I'll take care of the rest. But the second thing was to love the church Jesus paid for. To love people, that they will know you're my disciples by how you love one another. I'll start shaping what you believe about me when you belong to me, and your belief will start impacting how you behave in the world. And to love the world He died for. I want to encourage you today. No matter who you are, no matter what you walked in here with, I've already given an altar call today. He's the God of the breakthrough. I can't tell you how he has come through all these years. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights of pacing back and forth, saying, God, what about your promise? What about your word? What about your heart? What about your dream? I can't tell you how many nights I was scared. Still am. It's not called scared, it's really the fear of the Lord. Because when you know he's your everything, how many know he can show up in everything? Hear me. When you know that God is not finished with you. I was reading about the Hebrides revival recently, and I was so glad that Duncan Campbell was 51 when there was a youth revival that broke out that affected all of Europe in a little island off the coast of Scotland called Lewis Island. I said, God, if he was 51, I'm 54. You ain't done yet. I got a long journey ahead here. How many realize I don't care who you are, where you've been, what you've done, what has tried to define you, the moment you step into the dream of the heart of God for your life, he changes everything. He defines you and he says, I'm not done with you. You say, I lost my marriage, I lost my family. He can bring you a new family. He can even give you a new marriage. God can restore. He can make all things new. He's not finished with you. Hear me today. And don't you let anyone or anything steal the dream God places in you. The key to God's dream is finding his dream for you. Would you stand with me?